Yes, it makes you hazy. It fogs up memory's edges. But in the moment, it is the moment and you are nowhere else except and only exactly where it puts you. In some ways, like any acute pain, and in some ways, possibly unlike any other, migraine is a particular version of the present. What happens when its present becomes yours for extended periods of time, for a significant portion of your life? This is the pain, or the present, I wish to discuss. 2. Does the dark early morning skull shatter by the light of waking, or does the shattering wake the skull to dark early morning? Either way, it's like an iceberg cracking, but within the cramped confines of a dumpy container ship. Today? No, not today. Rather, yes, today, again. Small streams may become raging currents without warning. The National Weather Service's alert flashes on repeat. No shit. In other words, despite all the information at your disposal, you're not going to see this coming. I never do. Whatever pain you're in is the worst kind, and when it's bad, it's untranslatable. But that doesn't keep you from having to try. Masturbate forever, chanting, "I am alone," in Middle Persian. Dig through a hill with your breasts, wearing a millstone for a cap. Be thou a deathless thorn tree in the suicidal woods. These are some of the forms of suffering listed on an altered version of the Wong-Baker Faces Pain rating scale to be ranked by the patient, that is, reader, that is you, in a poem about the underworld by Shrikant Reddy. Hearing him read it, a finished section of an incomplete epic, shortly before leaving town for a residency that will give me uninterrupted time to write, I'm struck by how, ingenious as varieties of pain, they're equally apt as descriptions of what it's like to try to describe pain at all. Pain as black box, lockbox, substitute safe-wording vital data. Pain as memory shrapnel. Pain as vehicle. Pain as avenue, spiritual, sexual, other. Pain as evidence of God's love. Pain as evidence of God's wrath. Pain as healthy. Pain as diseased. Pain as hollow attachment. Pain as deepest bond. Pain as symptom. Pain as cause. Pain as passing. Pain as lasting. Pain as telling, as smokescreen. As distractions pesky fly. Pain as phantom. Pain as proof. Dull, sharp, throbbing, burning, aching, stabbing, concentrated, diffuse. Infrequent, occasional. Intermittent, frequent. Constant. Mild, moderate, severe. Tie me a noose. Despite or perhaps because of the dizzyingly various ways we categorize and conceptualize, let alone experience pain, we're notoriously bad at talking about it, even literally, as in, do you have it? How much? Where? What kind? The sensations of my own body may be the only subject on which I am qualified to claim expertise. Sad and terrible, then, how little I know, writes Eulabis in The Pain Scale. Before coming across the essay, I spent years hating the standard numerical scale. Rank your pain from 1 to 10. 1 being no pain, and 10 being the worst pain you can imagine, and hating myself when confronted by it, ricocheting as I did between indignation, shame, and confusion. So finding the essay was a kind of reprieve, the validation of a frustration that had long confounded me. Looking for better systems of measurement, Biss points us toward the Beaufort wind scale. Developed in 1805 by Sir Francis Beaufort of the British Royal Navy, undoubtedly along with many unnamed others, to categorize the speed of wind, it runs from 0 to 12, but the numbers are the least important part. They read as shorthand, really, for exquisitely tuned, twinned descriptions of the physical world by land and by sea.